What is going on, Sabres fans, and welcome to another episode of the Sabres Spotlight podcast, where we shine a light on all things Sabres hockey. Ryan, what's going on?
What up, dude? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're ready for another early week edition of the podcast. I'm kind of digging this new schedule, and
Trying to do it on Mondays, guys. We're trying to do it on Mondays instead of like Wednesday, Thursday. I think it's beneficial for all of us.
yeah, get the work week started off. And there's actually some Sabres news this week, which is kind of cool. You were asking for it last week. You said you wanted some content, and we got a little bit this week. Some things to discuss, which we'll start off with, right out of the gate here. But what's new with you? Anything fun, exciting going on?
My life is quite exciting right now, but not anything I really want to talk about yet on here at least. But no, life is going very well, man. It's going well. How about you? How's the family?
Good. We're just waiting for my sister to pop with her little one. She's due like in a couple days. So by the time I'm talking to everybody on here next week, I'll probably have a brand new niece, hopefully, unless she's stubborn and is taking her time. But just kind of waiting for that, man. And that's it. Just waiting for my niece, waiting for some Bills football to start, and waiting for some Sabres hockey to start.
Dude, that's so cool. I mean, we saw your sister last week, and she was looking like she's ready to go. She was like
Yeah.
just not like, in a round sort of way, but in like a please get this child out of me sort of way.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm surprised she's not here yet. Jeez.
Oh yeah. I know. Dude, can you imagine? I mean, obviously we're men, so we don't go through this, but can you imagine like the anxiety of like knowing that any second you could be like pushing a baby out of you and just how much pain that probably is? I could not
No,
deal with
I
it.
I can't. We don't do a single thing as men. Like I feel like we have it made. I'm thankful that I'm not a woman for
I
a
know. I
plethora
know,
a
seriously.
plethora of reasons. But oh my goodness. It's good. Being a woman is hard, man. That's why it's like we have it kind of easy. I don't know why like men are complaining all the time. We got it easy, guys. We
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't have to do anything that's insane. We don't bleed out of our areas or anything like that. We don't push babies out. We don't get cut open for babies. We don't do shit. So it's pretty good.
All right, well, let's transition into some Sabres here. We got, like I said, we got some things to talk about here. We'll start off with the big news, which was the UPL contract. So
Yes, finally.
UPL, yeah, signs a 5-year, $23.75 million contract. That's a $4.7 million AAV. What were you thinking when this news came across?
I was thankful that it got done and they didn't go to arbitration. I didn't think they'd go to arbitration anyway. There's a lot of like sentiment out there that like the Sabres kind of like have done wrong by UPL over the years, considering he, didn't get off to the hottest foot at the pro level after being like one of the best players at the OHL level when he was younger, and kind of took a backseat to Levi for a little bit there. But hey, we paid him and we gave him 5 years too. That was kind of a bit of a shock to me, but I'm also happy about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think it's a good deal for the Sabres, really, in terms of really both the term and the dollar amount. I mean, if you look at the AAV, the 4.75, I mean that's puts him like middle of the league as far as like goalies are concerned. And there's still a couple goalie contracts coming up too, which will drop UPL down the list even more. So I think it's good for him, and I think it's a win-win for both sides because obviously UPL and his team, they get a good number and a good extension. And then as far as the Sabres go, he showed you he can be a good goalie last year, and now this is obviously his reward, and it should hopefully be motivating for him to keep that up. So that's the big question: is can he keep it up? And if he doesn't, then it's probably not going to be the best contract. But if he plays like he did last year and shows that that's him, then it'll be a fine deal.
Yeah, this for me kind of um, proves to him at least that hey, listen, you're the number one guy. Like as soon as Lindy got in here and they asked him like who's your goaltender and he said UPL, like that's not enough. And They gave him 5 years. So you're the guy. Like, even if we bring up Devin Levi, like you can't think about that. You got to go out and play. And getting him under 5 is, like you said, also great for the Sabres. So win-win all around, like you said. And I hope he can come in with confidence and play like the UPL he did last year, because he was incredible and probably the only reason we were hanging on to that 0.2% at the end of the year to make the playoffs. So if we get that UPL for a full season, that's exciting.
Yeah, so good for UPL, good for the Sabres. Do you think Devin Levi's a loser here? Like, what are your thoughts as it relates to Levi?
Well, you can think about it multiple ways. I am starting to think that Levi is going to start in Rochester, and I know most of the beat reporters have said no way, like Levi's in Buffalo, but I kind of lean the other way. I think that they're going to run UPL and Reimer and let Levi have another year to cook down there, and we'll see what happens. I mean, he's what, 21 years old. He's got time. He's got more than enough time to play in Rochester. And the Sabres seem to have hopefully learned their lesson that they can't outdevelop like historical development for goalies. So Levi spending 1 year in Rochester extra is no problem for me, and keeping the AAV down means UPL's contract is tradable if we get into a situation where we can only choose one.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me is that I don't think it blocks Levi at all because I think you're realistically looking at Levi as the starter or the guy in 2 years or more, probably more realistically 3 years. And by that time, you have 2 years left on UPL's deal. And if he is playing good, that's easily a tradable contract. You're getting into a situation where you have all Mark Swayman essentially,
Yeah,
whereas like you can,
hopefully that's the hope right there.
yeah,
That's exactly what
yeah,
we want.
yeah, and if you were gonna ask, like obviously everybody wants to be the guy, but even if even if Levi's say ready in a few years and you decide you want to hang on to them both for another year, like you could do a timeshare like Boston did with Allmark and Swayman, and you could have say a season in Allmark's fourth year under contract where they're splitting games and they're staying healthy and Levi's still getting a good amount of games. So it's
Who's to
interesting. There's
say
there's a lot of ways
also?
that they could navigate it.
Who's to say that UPL doesn't, at the end of the day, be the better goalie? And Levi is the one that ends up being moved. Like, I'm not opposed to anything here.
Well, that's the thing too, is that Levi is still a question mark. Like as much as you could say UPL is a question mark too, at least at the professional level, UPL certainly shown more than Levi has. And it's not like UPL's played an insane amount of games, so there is a little bit of risk with the Sabres. But if you want to make these contracts worth in the long run, you're paying on the prospects of what you've seen. So they have belief in UPL, and hopefully he rewards them. And yeah, if it's a good point, I've never really heard that because everyone just assumes Levi's going to be like fantastic, but if he's not, and we all hope that's not the case, but if he doesn't end up being good, then UPL's there, and you got a
Yeah,
guy that's locked in. So
yep.
yeah, interesting.
Well,
All right.
Google Pekka locked him in, like you like to say. You coined it. No one's taken it so far. It's not. No one's running with it, but we're gonna get people to run with it, I think.
Yep. Ukapeka Lakamin is now Ukapeka locked them in. So that's perfect. So we'll go to Beck Malenstyn next. Don't have to spend too much time here, but he was the other Sabres player that was in the ARB question mark, and he ends up signing a 2-year deal for $2.7 million. Of course, Malenstyn was acquired from Washington for the second round pick in the draft this season. So just a nice, a 2-year deal for a guy who was probably looking for a multi-year deal. I think that's probably
Yeah,
what the hangup was, is that he just didn't want a 1-year deal. He wanted to.
yeah. Good for him. Good for him. He's gonna play on our fourth line and, hopefully do his job. That's a good little deal for him.
I wanted to say something about him real quick. Did you listen to Sabres Live when he was on?
I No, I did not.
All right, so he was on for like 8 minutes, and I actually really enjoyed his interview. He was like really well spoken, and his answers I thought were very thoughtful and insightful, and you could tell he was actually excited to be here. It was funny because Baran brings up the point of when he got traded, there was like two things that he wanted to know, which was like, okay, like where to, obviously, and then what was the return.
Yeah,
And so Malenstyn was kind of like, he didn't necessarily see a trade coming because he thought he had a nice year in Washington, and that he was going to end up signing there. And then he goes, when I saw that, the return was a second round pick, I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense, But he talked about how it's motivating for him, and that the franchise obviously values him, that they're willing to part with a higher asset to obtain him. So I thought that was kind of cool. Just, it's not like we have a ton of expectations for him, but he's there to bolster the fourth line, and it was just kind of an interesting little conversation piece, I guess.
I mean, nobody will think about that second round pick if Beck Malenstyn comes in here and provides energy and is a good penalty killer. So I'm not
Yeah,
too like obviously it's probably like an overpay from a skill standpoint, but if he comes in and he's a fan favorite and starts hitting everything, then who are we to say?
yeah, exactly. Plus, we got that sweet, sweet fifth round pick now from Kyle Post to win the puck, so we're good. We got assets.
Yeah, we recouped it a little bit. Thanks, Kyle.
All right, last little bit of player news, at least that we can get into here, is all the buzz about Patrik Laine and the rumors he recently cleared the NHL Player Assistance Program, which the Blue Jackets and him apparently agreed to a trade a while back, but he couldn't actually formally meet or like discuss with teams until he cleared the program, which just happened more recently. So now that that's all figured out, and he's recovering from his shoulder injury at a broken clavicle, and I believe he had surgery on that. So, what are you? There's anytime one of these players comes out, there's I'm sure all 32 fan bases do the same thing. Like, oh, can I get this guy? Obviously, the Sabres are one of the teams that have a little bit more in terms of cap space and could potentially make this work and have a need. What do you think about this? Is this something that you would want? Do you think this is something that the Sabres are exploring right now?
I definitely think that they're exploring, and I definitely think that it's something that I would want. Like we've talked about a million times and has been discussed a million times, the Sabres are going to have about $7 to $8 million left on the cap when all is said and done. When they break training camp,
Yeah, right now
Patrick
they
Laine,
have, according to Puckpedia, they got like 8.5, but
okay, and
they're gonna
Krebs is going
have
to
to
get
sign
like
Krebs.
he'll get like 900 million or not 900 million, 900K to like 100 million. Uh, so if Laine, so
Damn,
Laine's
nine
cap hit
hundred
is
million.
you're I said that while you were drinking. People are watching on video. I said that, or listening on audio, not watching on video. I said that while Matt was taking a slug of whatever the
Oh
fuck
my
he's drinking
god,
tonight,
I almost
and
short
I'm
circuited my
pretty
computer.
sure it almost went through his nose. So, no, Peyton, I love you, but you're not worth $900 million. I'm sorry. Uh, but no. So Liney's cap hit has 8.7 million for the next 2 years. Let's say the Jackets retain 25% of that, and that's like what I'm not quick math here, like 5.9 million of that 8.7 million. That fits right under where we would need a player.
Yeah,
In terms of like return and what type of player, I mean, Line is kind of like Jeff Skinner in a sense that like his defensive game is kind of brutal, but he's big. He hasn't really like got on with the team really. Besides early Winnipeg years, his time in Columbus has been rocky. And I mean, he was in
yeah,
the assistance program, and they at one point they put him at center, and like that didn't work out. Obviously, they tried to Tage Thompson him, and it just like didn't work. But
yeah,
he's still a good goal scorer and something we can definitely use, especially on the power play. He's a weapon.
yeah. I see a lot of that out there too. Like, oh, like, is this like an upgrade, from Skinner? Because like he would, like you said, there's comparables in the fact that like he's not good on defense and whatnot, and he's good at scoring, but like, oh, Skinner was good at scoring too. But I just think to myself, well, like, he's a lot younger, and this is a guy that just needs a fresh start. And the Sabres needed a change too. Like, they needed to move on from Skinner, and they got out from under that contract. So if you bring in Line, and Columbus retains, you're not paying him. I know there's the buyout money for Skinner, I get that, but as far as like this year goes, you're still going to be paying out less money. But sometimes guys just need a change of scenery. I mean, look at like look at like Reinhardt. Like Reinhardt was here and he was playing good and he was producing points, but then you go to Florida and you explode. Obviously, I know there's better talent and things like that, but you could argue the same for Laine. Like if you're coming here, there's more talent on the Sabres right now than there is on Columbus, and if they utilize him the right way and doesn't have to be the guy like the stud, because we have core guys that can do that and take some pressure off him and really facilitate things with his play a little bit more. I think that could be a fit, and it would be a fit that we need now. Like we talked about, we needed to move on from Skinner, so replacing him with Laine, if there's potential there, would be different. I don't think it would just be a re-roll with just a younger guy.
I completely agree. Now, if we're talking guys from Columbus that I would have wanted the Sabres to trade for, that's not Patrik Laine. Uh, I would have given up a ton of things to trade. I think Columbus is like a tire fire. Like I think they're an organization like they're rebuilding and then they got a lot of young players, but if those young players don't start like really hitting their ceiling, like I think they're in trouble again. But Kirill Marchenko would have been a guy that would have been so much fun for us to trade for, but
He
he
just signed,
avoided
right?
yeah, he avoided arbitration and signed a 3-year deal with Columbus. That would have been the guy that I would have really, really liked. But
Yeah.
I'll take a Patrik Laine on the Sabres, man. It would be fun. Number one, it would be fun. Former second overall pick. We just
Yep.
love collecting our top 5 picks like they're Pokemon cards. You got to have them all. And
Nice.
it would be great. It would be great. Another right hand shot, big body forward. I'm all for it. I honestly don't even think that you would have to pay a ton to get him either, just because his value is probably at an all time low right now. So it's a buy low scenario with great rewards if it all worked out.
Yeah, and the other thing that could potentially make it work is that what Columbus is looking for right now is picks and prospects. So as far as like that's what's rumored out there. So if I mean it's a trade that I feel like Adams could facilitate easily given our assets and what we have. Now he does have a 10-team no trade clause, but if Buffalo happens to be on that list, you could see him waiving it if that
100%, I agree.
because he's not going to have a million suitors. Like he's going to have teams looking at him, but
If you
he's
look at cap around the
he
league, I
needs
think
a star.
we are one of I think probably like 8 or 9 teams that could realistically afford him in
Yeah,
terms of salary. So there, he doesn't have many options, man. And if he really wants out of Columbus, like you said, I think that no trade clause is a moot point because
yeah,
he just wants to leave.
yeah. Exactly. So okay, all right,
Keep an eye out for
perfect.
that because if it happens, we might have to do an emergency pod.
Yeah, that would be a nice move. Again, there's risk. There's definitely risk. There's risk with anybody, I guess. But but it could definitely be a move that helps the Sabres, and it'd be that top six guy. Where do you think he would slot in on the Sabres? He'd be that second
Yeah,
line winger, right? Yeah,
100%. We would run line eight Cousins Quinn. I mean that would be fun.
yeah, and then you could have
It's it slots
McLeod,
Benson down the
Vincent.
line or Zucker down the line in case they
Yeah,
can't have to add the second line.
yeah, yeah. That would be interesting. That would be interesting for sure. So, all right, perfect. And then any of these new player jersey numbers that you're really digging. So I'll go down the
Do it.
list here real quick because I know you're
Okay.
like a jersey number guy, and I'm not.
Yeah, it has to be right. It has
And
to be
our
right.
taste is different. So the Sabres announced these like whatever last week. So Dennis Gilbert number 8, Jason Zucker number 17, Malenstyn number 29, James Reimer 47, Ryan McLeod 71, Sam Lafferty 81, and NAK 96. So
Man,
what are you liking? What's hitting there?
96 is an awesome hockey number.
96
An
is a nice
awesome
number.
hockey number. And my only other point, I like 17 as a hockey number too. I feel like 17 is like a great number in any sport, really. I mean, we got Josh Allen wears 17
Yeah,
for the Bills, so it's
I
it's
like
just a great
17
number.
too. We're on plus that's
And
Owen's birthday.
okay, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. And also Ryan McLeod, I think he's going to be a great Saber. He's got to you know get that stink off the 71 over there. So you know from our former Swedish sniper that barely scored any goals.
Yeah, seriously. But you like the 71 too.
I do. I think it's enough. Okay, there's like certain numbers for hockey that I think are so shitty. Like off the top of my head, 3 terrible number. terrible. Like 2, also terrible. The elite numbers are like 9, 17, 29. 29 is not an elite number. 18 is a good hockey number. That was 11 is a great number. There are some numbers that are fucking horrible. Like
I like high hockey
honestly,
numbers. The numbers I
yeah,
don't like, I don't like 40s. I don't like 50s. But
yeah. I didn't. Okay, 40, 40 on goalies, 40s and 50s in goalies is great. On any roster player, it's terrible.
yeah, I just don't. Something about the four and the fives in there. But I definitely lean more towards the higher hockey numbers,
You
which
know
is
what
why I'm
number
kind
is
of
also
gravitating
terrible?
towards
And
NAK.
I can't remember who wore it because I just said 96 is a sick number, but Jesse Puljujarvi used to wear 98 before he kind of flamed out of the league. I thought that looked horrible on a jersey. It was awful.
I think I
And
would like 98. I don't know why I think I would like 98.
like 97 on McDavid looks incredible.
It does. 97 does look
98
good. Yep.
is kind of brutal. Does
It's so
Bedard
weird.
have 98?
I don't know. We can look that up.
Hold on, I'm looking.
But I'm kind of with you. Like my top numbers here would have been Zucker, McLeod, and
He
NAK
does.
on this list.
Terrible jersey number. Terrible.
98. Yeah, 98
Yeah,
is.
terrible. I used to like see the kids are too young nowadays, but like right around when our high school, like our senior year and like after that a little bit, there was a or like even Crosby's year, like around then, guys were wearing numbers for their birth year, which I thought was fucking sick. Like Kane wears 88 because he
Yeah.
was born in 88. Crosby wears 87. Like that little trend was awesome.
But I don't
Now we're
like
in like the
two.
Bedards and for 98s, and it's like you know, that's an okay number.
The one thing I don't like though, and then we can wrap this up. Spend so much money on number talk. I love it. The one thing
Money,
I don't know,
time.
or on number talk. Yeah. The one thing I don't like for jersey numbers is just like two like bulky numbers next to each other. That's why I don't like the fours and the fives, because if you put like a four next to a five, I feel like those are two like thick numbers, or
Okay, yeah, those are thick boys.
like a nine and an eight. Those are thick numbers. You know, like if you're gonna come out with a nine, give me like a one next to it, or like a two,
Oh,
something
dude,
slick.
91 is a goat hockey number.
Yeah,
91,
yeah,
perfect number.
yeah. So two thick numbers next to each other,
Yeah.
I can't make
Like,
it work.
you know what else is funny? We're gonna keep going here. Like 88, sick hockey number. 77, terrible number. Like
Yeah, it's sad.
66 is Mario Lemieux, so that's like no one wears it because he's the second best player of all time. But the only numbers that look nice together, like next to each other, are like 22, 88. I don't know. That's just how I feel.
I like that we spend a lot of time on the jersey numbers because we're doing our logo rankings today, and it's all about
Yeah, we got
aesthetics.
opinions. We got opinions, man. We got a lot of opinions.
All right, do you want to do the logos now, or do you want to go around the league here and finish up with the logos?
Um, I want to finish up with the logos because I feel like we're gonna go off on some tangents on logos, so
All right,
we'll save that for the end. And
all right,
we got to keep the listeners peeled because the entire reason for this episode is we're ranking our logos today. Shout out to my buddy Jesse from work. I was feeling down in the dumps about the podcast. I'm like, there's not much to talk about, and I know you were disappointed. I felt it through the
I
text
know.
I sent
I'm
you.
like, dude,
I
we can
knew you.
always
No,
talk
no.
about stuff.
I knew you were disappointed. And I told my wife, I'm like, babe, Matt's going to be so disappointed because I don't really want to record. There's nothing to talk about. So I told my buddy, and he goes, why don't you start ranking stuff? And I'm like, this is a fucking great idea. So now I'm rejuvenated. And today we're going to give you guys our jersey rankings, or our logo rankings, I'm sorry, 32 to 1.
Does Jesse have a nickname or no? Like, you guys have a nickname
No,
for Jesse or no?
no, no,
All
it's
right,
just Jesse.
we gotta work on that. We gotta think
Okay.
of a nickname for Jesse. All right, so I'll let you get started here. I'll actually let you take the lead because I know you probably got some thoughts about the Oilers hire here.
Oh my God. I mean, what is really there to say? So the Oilers hired Stan Bowman, who just got reinstated by the NHL after, everyone knows the situation in Chicago where he and Joel Quenneville, their coach, and multiple other people in the organization hid a sexual assault of Kyle Beach, one of their players, and they were suspended for it. I think it's it's a disgrace that he got hired again. And I know he came out and said that him and Kyle Beach have like a relationship of some sort, like he apologized for the whole situation and took responsibility. And I get that, and I get he probably does deserve to work in the league in some capacity, but does it have to be an NHL GM like right away? Like, come
I
on,
know.
man.
Yeah.
You're giving him the top dog the second he's back. Like, not even as an advisor, as a GM. It's just like, is there really any consequence for covering up a sexual assault? Not really. He didn't work for what, 3 years, and now he's back. Like, did it? It really doesn't even matter. There
I
really
know. It's
was
like
no punishment.
make him work for it again, But
There's no punishment at all. He has a new job, and honestly, it's pretty shameful in my opinion.
yeah. Plus, I mean, look at the team you're inheriting too. It's like, come on.
The best team in, like, one of the best teams in the league, and I mean, crazy that they didn't just hire their interim GM Jeff Jackson, because
He was in the kitchen.
they improve their team. Like, they're good. They're obviously a great team, but I think they got even better. And
The
they're just
fans
like
wanted him to be hired. He was like,
they're
"Nah,
like
I don't want to."
no, we'll hire the guy that covered up a sexual assault. Like, come on, man, crazy
Unbelievable.
times.
So I've seen
But hey,
some
if
mixed.
he does have a relationship with Kyle Beach, that's great. And if he is like truly sorry for what happened, then I guess it's just it's complicated.
I've seen some mixed feelings about that in the Oilers fan base as well. Kind of like 50-50. Like it seems like kind of half the fans are like excited because he's a 3-time Cup winner, and then half the fans are kind of questioning like, well, like how many like moves did he actually make like in Chicago during those Cup runs and things, like how much of that was actually orchestrated by him, and how much was kind of already there and whatnot. So it'll I guess it'll be interesting to see what happens. It just sucks because like as much I don't like, I'll root for the Oilers because I like McDavid and I like the Oilers, and but again, it's kind of a shitty hire, and it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I mean, I believe in second chances and that type of stuff, but it's just like it just feels kind of yuck. It'd be like if the
It's
Bills signed
gross.
like Deshaun Watson. Like, it'd be really hard
Yeah,
to like root for the Bills. You know what I mean? Like, I feel bad for like Browns fans right now because it's like that just feels terrible.
yeah. I mean, it's like the same thing with. I mean, Von Miller didn't do what what Deshaun did, and still, it's like every time Von does something, I'm like, well, he has this record now, and like has a history of like I think he like physically assaulted his girlfriend or wife, and or at least accused of, and it's just
Yeah,
like
there was
the
no charges or anything with it, but
stuff like that. Just like it just really questions like your love of sports for a little, because like at the end of the day, like these are human beings, and it's like, well, you don't want to support someone that's like doing horrible things. So it's all just being a sports fan is just very complicated, because you know that like there's no choir boys on your team, you know.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But all right, let's move into player news. A few big things since last week. Phillies agreed to an 8-year contract extension with Travis Konechny, so that's worth $70 million. So he
Oh,
had
I'm
a
so
nice
sad.
season.
I'm sad
Yeah,
about it. I'm
yeah. He
sad.
had
One
a
of my favorite players.
he had a nice season. 27 goals, 68 points. So he joins Phillies core alongside Sean Coutier, Owen Tippett,
Oh
Joe
my
Farabee, and
God.
Travis Sanheim.
Wow. Say it again.
Sean
Say
Coutier.
no. It's Couturier.
I knew I
God
was gonna.
damn.
I knew I was
That
gonna
was.
butcher that.
Oh my God. I saw how you had it spelled, and I could not wait for you to say it. Say
Sean
it. Say it with me.
Sean
Couturier.
Cootie, Sean Cooties.
Incredible. That was like Craig Rive level of mispronunciation. I loved it. But yeah,
Is it, is that spelled right in the show doc or
no,
no?
it's not.
Oh, so it's just a typo then.
Yeah, it's just a typo from you.
So if I put it in there correctly, I would have said Couturier.
Yeah, there you go.
Ha Couturier.
I just wanted to roast you. That's all.
You didn't get my joke there.
No. Oh my God, I did. Hawk Couture. Oh, jeez. That's good.
We made up for it with the joke there. We made up for it
Yeah,
with the
that's
joke.
good.
So Philly's got 5 guys signed long term here. We're going to be seeing a lot of them over the next handful of years, and then I'll run through the other big contracts here. Then you can talk about whoever you want. Brock Faber in Minnesota agreed to an 8-year, $68 million extension. So that's kicking in next season after his ELC is done. So that's about $0.15 million more than Owen Power, just as a comparable for
Great job by the
young and
Sabres. Great
upcoming
job by the
defensemen.
Sabres getting him locked up when he did because it was only going to get more expensive.
Yeah, and then Martin Necas is another player that's kind of buzzy for Sabres and linked to wanting a trade. Hurricanes obviously lost a lot of pieces, so surprising but not surprising that they get a deal done with Necas, and that's a 2-year, $13 million deal. So I don't know anything you want to expand on here.
On Nate just a little bit, this league is so boring. This
Yeah,
league is so lame. These GMs, they don't even like to have fun, I'm convinced. Natchez was in trade rumors forever. Forever. Carolina's like, we want to trade him for X amount of players because we think he's an all-star, great player. And then he re-signs for 2 seasons at not at like what? What did he get AAV? Like 6 million? I don't even know. I can't math right now. But like, come on, come on.
yeah, 6.5.
This guy was supposed to be traded. And how many guys this summer did we say, wow, this guy's getting traded? Like definitely traded. Ehlers, Natchez himself, Zegras is still on the Ducks. This league is so boring.
Yeah, but why do you
Make a
think that
trade.
is?
Make a trade because they're stupid. I don't know. It's just like it's not fun. Like I want to see trades.
Is it because it's just hard to trade? Like I can understand deals being difficult when like you have your guys locked in, and then that any prospect you're getting is like a roll of the dice. So like because like hockey prospects are so unless they're like an elite talent, you don't know what you're going to get, so it's so hard to project that. It's so different than like football where like if you're trading someone like a second round pick or even a third round pick, like those are probably going to be like impact players for you like
Yeah,
right away. So if someone says, "Oh, I'm going to give you this guy and a third round pick in football," it's like, "Oh, that's not too bad because that could be like an impact player for me next year." Whereas like in hockey, it's like if you're going to trade, "Oh, I'm going to give you a third round pick," like okay, maybe it's a player in like 5 years,
it's like a 4% chance of like being an NHL player.
Yeah, I feel like that's where it's hard. So unless like someone really just wants out or they just have a plethora of guys that they need to move like Vegas or something, like I don't know, it's just I think it's just where the landscape is right now.
It's a little bit of that for sure. I also think hockey players, like by nature, are very risk averse and
Yeah.
just want to stay in like their city. Like look at Winnipeg. By all measures, Winnipeg is probably a great place. I'm not shitting on Winnipeg. But those guys were like rumored to be moved forever, and then all of them keep signing 8-year contracts.
Yeah.
And that team is kind of like a mid-level playoff team. Like I don't see them winning a cup like at all. And those guys are just willing to stay there for, you know, almost a decade at a time. So the hockey players are just kind of like risk averse, and GMs are risk averse, and it's just not. It just doesn't make for a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah.
The NBA has it figured out too, because the NBA has
Well,
player
NBA
movement.
is just like those guys are
It's
like I'll
insane.
just move every year, get a
Yeah, they
max
don't give
deal
a
for
shit.
55 mil.
They don't give a shit. They'll play anywhere. And they love it. And it's like the league is so much fun. I don't even follow it, but I like, we're sports fans. We see stuff in different leagues all the time. And I just feel like those guys are constantly moving
Oh,
every season. It's
constant.
insane.
Yeah, constant. Like rosters in the NBA like are nowhere near what they look like 3 years ago. Where like if you
Right.
look at an NHL roster, it's going to be like probably 70% of the same of what it was, a few years ago. Yeah, I think you're probably right about the hockey players kind of liking like just being a little bit more risk averse and having their roots in and whatnot. So that makes that makes a lot of sense. There's probably a lot of aspects to it, but all right, we want to get
We
into
didn't we,
our
we didn't we didn't touch on Faber.
Faber. Yeah,
You
yeah.
got any thoughts on Brock Faber signing?
I thought he was solid last year, man. So it'll be interesting. I mean, that's a guy you can kind of watch alongside Owen Power to kind of see how they do. It seems like I think as far as like I know Faber was getting a lot of power play time last year, and that's kind of how he racked up a lot of his points as far as like assists goes. He's kind of similar to Power that I feel like there's not like a ton of like offensive pop there, but if he's getting a lot of like penalty or minutes on the power play, then he can rack up some assist points. But he was good defensively last year. Like he showed some good defensive play in his rookie season. So I think he's a
Yeah.
very similar player to Owen Power. I think there's more offensive upside with Power though.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I did check some little bit of the numbies beforehand, and Jay Fresh on Twitter said that he showed his two charts from before the All Star game and after the All Star game. He was on fire before the All Star game, and then they had a little bit of injury trouble, and they paired him with Jake Middleton, and his numbers collapsed.
Yeah,
So he was really hot for a lot of the year, and then kind of cold to like maybe average for the rest of the year. But he's young. I mean that kind of happens with young players. It
yeah.
was his first season in the league. He showed stretches like you said where he was really really good. So I definitely think like that Minnesota's not going to regret this contract at all.
Well, their fan base is going to be having the same question or the same questions we're having, where it's like, oh, we got
Yeah,
to find out who we need to pair with Faber, to maximize, and it's just how it works with the young players until they're that vet that can go with anybody else, which is not going to happen for years. Then that's what's going to happen, So yeah, interesting. I'm going to be watching him in Power, because like I said, I think deals are similar, and I think they're similar type players. So we'll see what happens next year. And all right, cool. Well, then we're gonna get into our Jesse inspired logo rankings, and we got we'll put our tier lists out after the show. I'll probably post them with over the next couple days on the Twitter over there, and then. But as far as tonight goes, we're gonna work this very similar to what we did a couple months back where we did our fantasy draft. So I have a spreadsheet kind of set up here, and we did rank logos from 1 to 32. So today, as far as the show goes, we'll go through the list from 32 all the way down. We can kind of take turns, even if we want to go like five at a time or whatever. That's probably the easiest way to do it, so it's not taking too long.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
so we'll do that all the way up to one, and then they said we'll post the tiers later. We'll talk about this as we go. Let me get our doc shared here. I know you love when we get the screen
Yeah,
share
the
going.
screen share gets me all ruffles my jimmies a little bit.
All right, there we go. Nice and fancy little Google Doc here.
You can tell
All
we're
right.
not professionals.
No, this bare minimum. I put this together like 5 minutes before we recorded.
I love it.
All right, so no, but the combination is the best. That's why it's like I did this, and then you're like, dude, you can use this tier maker, and we can post this to the socials after this show. It's like so you feed off each other, and at the end you have a nice product, which is good. But all right, you want to go first or you want to go second? What do you want to do?
Yes, let me give you my bottom five. This is in uh reverse order, so 32 up to 1. So we're starting at the bottom of the barrel here.
Yeah.
So my 32nd team, they don't even have a fucking logo. It's the Utah logo. Utah Hockey Club is my 32nd team.
Okay. All right.
That just because they don't have a team, they don't have a logo. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? You
That's
know,
fair. That's fair.
my 31st team is the Dallas Stars. This logo
All right.
sucks. It's terrible. It's awful. Like, it's so boring. Their jerseys are boring. I don't like it at all. The third, probably controversial, Colorado. Don't like this logo at all. I just don't
Interesting.
know
Okay.
why. Just rubs me the wrong way. Texas, Seattle. They, I don't like this logo at all. It's an S. Who cares? And then to round out my bottom five, the Tampa Bay Lightning. They need a rebrand in the worst way, in my opinion. Like they need to go back to their 2005, 2006 logo, and then they would rocket up my board. But for now, it's brutal.
Okay. All right. I like it. So
But
we can have some discussion after this. I'm gonna give you my five, and then we can talk about anywhere we want to
okay.
afterwards. All right. So my bottom five, my worst one, is got to be the Ottawa Senators. This
Oh my goodness.
this logo is just horrible. It looks like it was drawn in like 1970, and maybe it was. I don't know when the last time Maybe
They
change their
did
logo.
they did recently go back to like their more old school like mid 2000s logo.
That logo is yeah, it's just so bland. But all right, next we're going to the. Oh, hang on. You can still see it, right?
Yep.
All right, this from one of the older logos to one of the newer ones. I'm going with the Los Angeles Kings as 31.
You don't like this logo, and I think you're crazy.
I do not like this new logo. It's just interesting. I'm in agreement with you. Number 30, I have the Dallas Stars pretty low on my list. And then I'm going to round out the last two with this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I don't like this jersey. I'm going with Edmonton at 29, and then 28 for me is going to be St. Louis.
Okay. Okay, I can rock with those. So my only thought is that you have LA, and this is your F tier, right?
Yeah, I have two more teams technically in my F tier, so
Okay. So
so
these are
27 and 26 would be all rounding out my
your
F tier.
your Kings are in your F tier. I have
Yeah.
the Kings in my S tier.
Oh my god. It looks like the Chevy logo.
Okay, I see it. I see it. But it okay. A theme for my S tier logos is nostalgia. I'll tell you that. So
That's
we'll,
fine. I
we'll,
mean,
we'll get there. I'll expand on that thought when we get up to the top of the top, the creme de la creme up there. But for now, let's. So I went first. Give me your next five.
all right. So then my next five. So these next two will round out the F tier for me. I'm going with Montreal at 27, and then at
Okay.
26, I'm
What?
going with the
Hold on.
New York
You should
Islanders.
be you should be hung for your Montreal opinion.
Yeah, I kind of figured that would be the reaction. But it's just a H and a C. Like, come on, like whatever. I'm not.
It's
It's
because
not.
you're not a purist. It's because you're not a purist. That's
I
it.
get it. I get it. They're one of the original teams, and it's a nostalgic logo. But I mean, it's an H inside of a C. Like literally, my daughter could draw that, and she's 3 years old. So, moving on, I'm going to Boston next
Okay.
at 25, and then the Vegas Golden Knights at 24. And then to finish up my five here, we're going with the Florida Panthers.
Okay. All of those are, most of those are, I think are valiant opinions. What do you have any takes about this five in your list besides Montreal being an H and a C?
Yep, I mean, like I don't like simplicity, so you'll see that like Dallas is just a D inside a star. St. Louis is just like a musical note, like whatever. Boston, like it's just a B. It's just a B. I also kind of like dock teams more if like I feel like there's a ton of potential, but the logo just falls flat. Like Florida, like they're the Panthers, and like they used to have that sweet logo of the jumping panther. Like
Yes, that logo was nasty.
that logo is definitely elite. Like if that was their current logo, they'd shoot right up to the S tier for sure. But this one right now is just like again, there's so much potential with the Florida Panthers, it just falls flat. And then Vegas, just like it's a bland color scheme. Like it's just dark. There's nothing fancy about it. Like a Golden Knight, I feel like could be so sick, and it's just like a V inside of a helmet. Like I don't know. It just kind of falls flat for me.
I get it.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, so for my next five, um, I have the Columbus Blue Jackets as my
Okay.
next team. Just, honestly, there's nothing good about the Columbus Blue Jackets. I had to put them low on my list. And then I have like right up there with you. I have St. Louis as my next team.
Yeah.
Just a boring logo.
Yeah.
I have the Washington Capitals next.
Okay.
I,
All right.
their primary just says Washington Capitals.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Their secondary logo, the like flying eagle, is
Oh, the
nasty.
flying
Like that.
eagle is sweet.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. This is dumb. My next team is the Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay.
Just don't. I A lot of this is also like my personal connection to the team, and I hate them, so I have to score them low.
Yeah.
And then to round out, this is in my C tier, rounding out my C tier because I only did 5 tiers compared to you. You're adding an F tier because you're a mean person. New York Islanders.
Okay. All right. Yeah. The New York Islanders is just like I get Islanders, but like I just feel
So
like
did
it
you
could be a
notice that
better
it's
name.
actually did you notice that it's actually Long Island in the
Yeah,
logo?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't think
I
you were
get it,
stupid.
and the
I didn't
Y
think
is a hockey stick. Like it's not like a bad design, but it's just I don't know. It just doesn't really like speak to me.
I
So
get
like
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm with you on Washington. The older logo is so much better, but all right, cool. Yeah, I'm good moving on here. I kind of agree with that little batch that you put in there. So let's get up to our next. Why don't we just go right up to the top here? So we'll just go 22 to 20 or to 17. So give me your next six.
My next six. Okay, I have the Devils next,
All right.
and then nothing really to say. I mean, it's just like a Devilly New Jersey. So
Yeah.
there's really not much. It's cool. I think it's cool. But besides, like it's got like the devil's tail at the bottom of the Y. Like I think that's pretty sick, but not really much to write up like write home about there. Then I have Florida.
Yep.
We already talked about them. Then I
Yep.
have Pittsburgh.
Okay.
It's an okay logo. I feel like the mean penguin is pretty cool. I like their classic logo, the '90s one. It just kind of like it looks kind of more robotic. This one, I
Okay.
feel this penguin looks too friendly to me.
Okay. I
You
mean, I
want
can
to
see
cuddle
that.
this penguin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have
Well,
Ottawa
it's
next.
to the kid, he
Yeah.
wants to play with his penguin plushies. So yeah.
I have Ottawa coming in my 19th slot.
Okay, we are so different on Ottawa. I mean, you still
I
have
know.
Ottawa low, but they're
It's
they're
Ottawa. I like their logo. I actually think it's pretty good, but not like elite by any means.
yeah.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
It's just a P. It's just a flying P.
Yep.
And then I have Winnipeg as my 17th slot.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't know. I
I'm gonna.
it's
You know
just
what?
it's a
Uh,
jet.
yeah, I'm gonna give you my next because we have some similarities here, so
Okay.
we can talk about it. I like what you have there. So then, where did I leave off at Florida? Okay, so then 22. Look at this. Surprisingly enough, I have the New Jersey
Okay.
Devils.
I see. There we go.
21 for me is going to be the Carolina Hurricanes, and then coming in at 20, I got Tampa Bay. I have them a little higher just because it's such a plain logo and they do need a rebrand, but I like Lightning. I think Lightning is
Okay.
sick. So the Lightning Bolt does something for me. I got Utah Hockey Club actually at 19.
Okay, so you like their little their brand before their real brand. I mean, I'm probably being unfair, and I only scored them 32 because they don't have a real logo.
Yeah.
But I guess it is kind of a sweet like color and stuff.
Yeah, I like the color and I know it's going to change. I thought about just putting them at the end because I know it's going to change, but I was like, well, this is still it for this year. So, and it's cool. It's just like it looks clean. So yeah, I'm good with it. It's not just like a simple thing like a blue U or something like that. Like they definitely put a little bit more thought into it. I think it looks kind of clean. 18 here, I have Winnipeg, so I'm with you as far as they go. And then 17 for me is going to be Washington. So our middle tier here is kind of similar
Yeah,
as far as that
pretty
goes.
much the same.
There's um there's a couple teams in this list for me that fall under that category of like there's so much potential, but they like that it's just like not great. Like the Devils, like you could do some sweet things with the
Agreed.
Devils. And then for me too, Winnipeg kind of is in that tier. I like the leaf like with the jet on top, but it's bland. It's just like the jet is so gray. There's no like details in it. I just feel like the logo is good, but it could just be cleaned up so much more to really like move them up a little bit more. Because I like their concept, but I just think it's kind of like poorly done. It just looks bland.
I agree.
But and then Carolina, like they need to do something with that. I think they should just probably end up calling themselves like the Carolina Storm Surge, and then they can just like rebrand around. All right, so we're going into the top half here.
Yep.
Top half of the league. I will. You want? I'll go next. I'll give my next a handful here. So I'll go 16 to 12 through the next five. So then, all right, who did I leave off at? Washington. All right, so coming in at 16, I got the Blue Jackets. It's I think it's a little cool with the red, white, and blue. You kind of have Washington and Columbus around the same thing. I kind of feel like their logos are similar, kind of red, white,
Yeah.
and blue, just kind of like plain, like whatever. But I got Seattle next. Don't love it, don't hate it. I got Philly at 14, and that rounds out my C tier. That's kind of the end of my C tier. I have two teams in the B tier here, and that's going to be Nashville and San Jose.
Okay. I like this. I like where this is going.
All right,
I
and
will
that,
I will say I have Nashville higher than you,
yep.
but your list makes sense to me here.
All right, give me your next five, and then we can chat a little bit more.
Where did I end off with Winnipeg?
Yep.
My next two are gonna round out my B.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
have Vegas.
Okay.
It's okay. Like you made a point earlier, they could do so much better.
Yeah.
Like it's cool. It's a Knights helmet, but the potential for more is abundant.
Yeah.
And then I have Edmonton. And you hate this logo, but
Yeah. It
it's such
looks.
a classic logo that I had to leave it like in the middle tier.
I just
Now they
think like that's what's tough about Edmonton for me is like Euler. I like that is one where like I don't know what you would do. Like I don't know how you would make that sweet, honestly. So I think you're
so
kind of stuck there.
do me a favor and look up Edmonton Oilers alternate logos and tell me what you think of their other logos that they've used. Because I find one specific one that they have, I think could play really well on like an updated version of like a third jersey.
So there's like a comet looking one, and then there's like a dude holding a hockey stick.
Yeah, the Comet is fucking sick. The Comet thing is so cool. I think
The
it should
comet's
be
kind of
updated.
cool.
It should be. They used to wear those like back in the mid 2000s. If they had another third jersey with that logo on it, I think I might buy a McDavid.
Yeah, the comet's better than what they have right now. It looks like a little transformery
Like the
look.
Oilers now, it's like the running streak of oil like down the logo, and it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, to me it just looks like a stain.
All right, I got three more to give you.
All right.
So we're getting into my A tier now. We're getting
Okay.
into the top tier. Like logos I see, and I'm like, that's a fucking hockey logo right there.
But you have an S tier as well, right?
I
So
do, yeah.
okay, all right. So this is your just below
I
S
have
then.
five teams in this, or four teams in this, and then I have a ton of S tier teams because I just
All
love
right.
a lot of logos. So my
Well,
next team is
why don't you just give me your A tiers here,
the rest of them.
and then
Okay.
I'll do mine. Yeah.
All right. So I got the Rangers,
Okay.
and then I got the Detroit Red Wings. This logo, I hate the team. One of the best all time, like one of the all time logos. When I see them, I get angry. So I can't put them in my S tier. Next is San Jose. Such a cool logo.
Yep.
It's a shark biting a stick in half, dude. That's awesome.
That's crazy. So we
Awesome
got
logo.
San Jose in the same spot. It's
Awesome logo.
and we got Jersey in the same spot. That's kind of funny.
And then to round out my A tier is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay. All right. So then you have 10 S tier teams.
10 S tiers.
All right. So then I'm gonna fill in my A, and then we can talk about the A tier here if we want to. So I have New York Rangers in my right here.
Okay, so you like them as well.
Yep. And then I got Toronto in the A tier.
You have to. Honestly, their new updated logo isn't even as good as their like original Leaf, but
Yeah,
it's so good.
it is nice. Like and like for me, it's like if you can make like a leaf look kind of cool, like that, like like that's what Winnipeg didn't do, So I'm like,
Yep.
shout out to Toronto, like they did it right. I got Colorado here. I'm
Okay, you
with
like
you.
them.
Like I no, I do like them. I do like them, but I'm with you. Like they can be cleaned up a little bit too. That's why I didn't put them in the S tier. And then I got Chicago
Okay,
in my A tier here.
it's perfectly fine A tier.
Yeah,
I my only qualm is Colorado, only because, like I said, it's the potential that they're not reaching for me. But I can see why you would have it in your A tier.
yeah. Rangers are clean. I like the color scheme, the shield. That's kind of like New York. Like it fits. It fits with like the city of like New York and things. And then Chicago, that's like a classic logo. I do want to elaborate a little bit on San Jose because I think that logo is sweet. I like that it's like a retro looking shark, but it's like it's somewhat new age as well. Like ripping the stick in half. I don't know. Like that logo to me is really cool. Like I seeing them at 12 now, I'm kind of like, I could maybe even move them up a little bit, but like that's where I'm gonna stick with it. But
I want to see someone mock up like an alternate for San Jose where it's like even more updated. Like, what if it's like a robot shark and it's breaking in half like a new age composite stick as
it's like
opposed to like a wood stick,
or like an AI
That
shark or something.
an A okay. I like it though. I like it.
Before we get into S tier, we're pretty different on Seattle. Like you have Seattle at
Yep.
29, I got Seattle at 15, so we got a big difference there. It is a pretty plain logo, like with just the S. I do like that it's got like the little like red in there, like it's meant to look like a dragon. So like I see that, so I bumped them up a little bit because like my lower ones are a lot of like the B for Boston, like the
Yeah.
D for Dallas, the Leaf, the C for Montreal. So like Seattle kind of fits that description, but I just felt like I liked a little bit more of the details in there and the color. That's why I had them a little higher. But all right, I'll give you my S tier here, and then you can close it out.
Okay.
All right, so then starting at 7 is Detroit.
Okay. Makes sense to me. It's
Yep,
the wing
yep,
wheel.
yep.
That's pretty cool.
I got Calgary at 6. I'm high on Pittsburgh. I love the Pittsburgh
Okay.
logo, so I'm putting them in S tier. I have Vancouver coming in here at 4. Number 3, we got Minnesota. Number 2, I'm going with the Sabres. I can't give them number 1 because for me, number 1 goes to Anaheim. So,
Spoiler alert, before I get there, Anaheim is also my number one logo. It is so they went from last to first.
yeah,
Like if
that new
we
logo is sweet. Like
if
LA
we
should have taken a page out of their book.
if we did this 3 months ago, they would have been my team in last.
Yeah,
Incredible job by them, bringing back
it was
a
needed. That's
modern
for sure.
version of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
All right, well, give me your top 10 here, your S tiers.
Okay, my top 10, my S tier, my goats, my creme de la creme, as I said earlier. I really like saying that. I got Calgary at the 10 spot.
Yep.
I got Boston,
Okay.
classic Spook B. Vancouver, awesome logo.
Vancouver's so nice. Yeah.
It's such a good logo. Minnesota, you know how many? Okay, at least once a year with the Minnesota Wild logo, I see so many people being like, I didn't realize the Minnesota Wild logo was like an animal and also like a wooded area.
Yeah, it's
It's
so sweet,
so
and the
cool.
and the color scheme is incredible.
Yeah, it is awesome. I see
Yep.
so many people like don't realize that and then just say it and I'm like, yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
After them, I have the Buffalo Sabres logo and my
Okay.
sixth spot. I love it. It's fantastic, but it doesn't break my top five. The Kings are in my top five.
Oh my
It
goodness.
is a classic. When I see this logo,
Oh
I
my
see
gosh.
I see Wayne Gretzky. I see him flying up. I see the black version of this logo, like the black jersey in this logo specifically. I don't know why, but it's fantastic. I love it.
You know what I see when I see that logo?
The
The
Chevy logo.
2019 Chevy Silverado, which was a great truck, by the way. But
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. But in my 4 slot, I got the Nashville Predators.
Okay.
It's so cool. It's such a cool logo. My 3rd spot is Chicago, one of the
Mm-hmm.
all-time best logos in sports.
Is a good logo. Yeah.
2nd is Montreal. Just it's the classic logo. I mean, it is the hockey logo. If you think hockey, you think either the Leafs logo or the Canadiens logo, in my opinion. And then, of course, my number 1 spot goes to the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Incredible rebrand. They hit it on the head. Perfect. But wow, our lists are similar in some spots and then very different in others. I love it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, they are. It's interesting. Nashville, I got down at 13. They were like a B tier for me. The one thing I don't like about Nashville, I feel like the fang is too long. It's too big. It looks just a little disproportionate to the head.
Okay, I'm
But
looking at it right now. I see what you're saying.
it's not bad. It's not bad. But again, like I think like animal logos, I think have so much potential. So if I see an animal logo and it's not like blowing me away, like I docked it a little bit, like on my list. That's for sure.
Okay,
So
I understand.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else I want to. So you had Buffalo at 6. Oh, let me ask you this question: if Buffalo was in the goat heads, where would you
Dude,
rank them?
no way you just asked me that because I was going to ask you that question. Oh man, that's crazy that you were thinking that. If they were the goat head, I'd probably put them at 2.
I would put them. I would have them leap Anaheim if they were in the goat heads.
Number
They
1.
would.
Yeah,
They would be
the
my
goat head
number.
is it's right up there with us. Like the goat head is such a generational logo. You either love it or you hate it depending on how
It's
old you are.
so good. It's
For
so
us,
good.
for us, it's what we grew up on. Like
Yeah.
the 90s to 2000s until they changed to the slug. Like that's our logo. We own that logo, in my opinion. Like us as like 30 something year olds.
Yeah. But
So
everything about that logo is perfect.
perfect. I mean, even in the arena with the when they scored a goal and they would do the smoke out of the nose, like just so cool, man. They did a lot of good stuff with that thing.
Where would you slot the slug?
Fucking one goat logo? No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Like what
It's
tier?
kind of
What tier?
mid tier, probably like a B or a C, I guess. Like it
Yeah.
gets a lot
All
of
right.
hate,
Yeah.
but I didn't think it was that bad. What
I
about
like
you?
the slug. I didn't mind the slug. I don't mind the slug. I'd probably put it in like a C tier
Yeah.
based off of this list. It'd be kind of mid, But all right, cool. I like it. I like it. So that's the final list. We'll put our tier list up on the socials this week for people to see. So that'll be interesting. We should just hashtag every team in the NHL. It's just see.
Oh my God, just hashtag literally the entire tweet is just hashtag. Oh my God. Can we,
just
do we even
just
have enough?
rile everybody up.
Do we even have enough like characters to do hashtag every team?
I don't
Like
know. I don't know. We upgraded to Twitter Premium and we are supposed to get them extra characters, but I don't think we are. I
is
gotta
Elon
check in
still
with
stealing your
Elon.
money? I
I,
I was thinking about this earlier today actually. Kind of thinking we might need to split a check mark and get our reach out there.
you think so?
I think we would get priority, you know.
Yeah, but what does
You
that
know,
mean?
I don't. I see a ton of goobers at the top of the replies all the time because they have check mark. So I don't know. It's something that we have to think about if we want to get our reach out there a little bit more.
All right, yeah, yeah, we can ponder that.
I mean, we're not exactly, you know, we could do it, but who
Yeah,
knows? I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Not for my
yeah.
personal Twitter. Fuck that. I would never do that.
No,
But for
no,
this
no,
Twitter,
no,
I'm
no.
not sure.
Well, we'll talk about that for sure. But so we'll put this on the Twitter and see what everyone has to say over there. But this was a fun
Yeah.
exercise for sure.
Yeah. Let me show the people my tier list real quick, and then you can show the people your tier list.
All right, yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, yeah, you do yours first because you're already on there.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh,
All
never mind.
right, yeah, just go ahead. You can do yours quick.
All right. All
I
right,
wonder if we
guys.
could do.
So
Oh, I was gonna say I wonder if we could both do it, but it
no,
kind of
I don't think so. So there's
blocks.
my list. That's what's gonna go up on the Twitter. Um, No adjustments are needed, in my opinion. I think I have the perfect list. Of course, I
What
do.
do you think? What do you think is going to get the people most like? What do you think would be the most controversial thing on your list for people
Okay, the
seeing it on Twitter?
most controversial. Um, let's see.
I think it might be
Probably
Colorado down in D.
probably having Colorado. Yeah, that's a great call out. Probably having Colorado. I think my list was kind of chalk, honestly, looking at it now. Colorado being D tier, like the one exception.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think if I had to put one thing on yours, let's see. I'll get mine here. So here's mine. All right, what do you think? Same question. What do you think would be most controversial? Gotta be Canadians, right?
Oh, 100%. People, yeah. Ottawa Twitter is coming for you, and so is
All of
Montreal
Canadian
Canadiens
Twitter.
Twitter.
I got
All,
Edmonton,
uh,
Ottawa, and and Montreal in the F.
all of Canada wants you on a fucking pike. Except for what besides Edmonton, like Western Canada loves you with Vancouver and Calgary.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
that's what I'm
think
saying.
both of those sections of fan bases are more than okay with you having Edmonton in your F tier.
Yep, yep, yep. That's funny. That is funny. That is funny. All right, folks. Well, that's gonna do it for today, and we'll hopefully see everybody, next week or within the next couple of weeks. Probably coming at you on another Monday there. But if you're a fan of the show, you know what to do. If you don't follow us already, head over to Twitter. Follow us at Sabres Spotlight. If you got any questions or feedback, let us know. The email address for those will be in the show notes. And then that's pretty much it. We'll look forward to seeing everybody next week. And as always, stay safe in the Sabrehood.